Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. The world has been stunned by the unfolding events in Ukraine, where weapons once hailed as Russia's invincible tools of war have been destroyed. This shocking development has left not only Vladimir Putin, but also much of the global community re-evaluating the claims and myths surrounding these systems. For years, Russia invested heavily in creating an image of superiority in military technology, showcasing their latest missiles, defense systems, and advanced hardware as symbols of untouchable power. These weapons were marketed both at home and abroad as exterior monuments of national pride, built to intimidate adversaries and reinforce Russia's standing as a dominant force. Yet Ukraine's ability to dismantle them in real time has exposed flaws that run deeper than expected. From the outside, the weapons carried an aura of strength. Russia paraded them through Red Square during national celebrations. Their exterior design meant to inspire awe and fear simultaneously. Colossal frames, sleek aerodynamic shapes, and armored shells suggested a machine built for absolute dominance. The sight of these weapons in action was intended to communicate a message that Russia was prepared with tools no rival could match. Their sheer size and imposing structures symbolized what Putin called the new generation of invincible systems. But exteriors can be deceiving. Behind the shell and image, the effectiveness of these weapons depended on the inner workings, and it is precisely inside that weaknesses began to show. The interior of these machines, though equipped with advanced electronics and targeting systems, was far more vulnerable than the Kremlin's speeches suggested. Sophisticated wiring, navigation controls, and communication systems were designed for precision, but complexity often breeds fragility. Reports suggest that these weapons relied heavily on older technologies disguised under modern upgrades, leaving critical parts exposed to modern countermeasures. Interior flaws became apparent when Ukrainian strikes, backed by Western intelligence and precision technology, hit the right pressure points. Instead of proving their indestructibility, the weapons revealed how fragile advanced designs can become when they face innovation on the battlefield. The shortcoming of the interior systems raised questions not only about Russian engineering, but also about whether corruption, rushed production, or misplaced confidence contributed to such glaring weaknesses. Performance has always been the ultimate measure of any military system. Russia boasted that its hypersonic missiles, advanced tanks, and air defense systems were without equal, suggesting they could penetrate any shield and strike any target with unstoppable force. These claims were amplified by state media, designed to create the image of performance so flawless that NATO itself would hesitate before challenging it. Yet the battlefield in Ukraine told a different story. When tested under the pressure of real combat, many of these so-called invincible weapons fell short of expectations. Ukrainian countermeasures, creative tactics, and precision weaponry exposed gaps in Russian performance. Instead of delivering overwhelming victories, these systems became targets themselves, often destroyed before fulfilling their purpose. The stark contrast between advertised performance and actual results has led analysts to conclude that Russia's war machine was not as advanced as the world was led to believe. The aura of unstoppable performance crumbled in the face of resilience and strategy. Safety features were supposed to be one of the hallmarks of Russia's advanced military hardware. Designers claimed these weapons had built-in systems to prevent interception, neutralize threats, and resist electronic warfare. Propaganda insisted that hypersonic weapons could travel too fast to be tracked, while advanced tanks were armored beyond penetration. However, Ukraine's use of drones, satellite-guided artillery, and long-range precision missiles revealed how inadequate these safety features really were. Systems that were believed to be impervious to interception were not only intercepted, but destroyed outright. Anti-missile technologies designed to protect Russia's assets failed repeatedly when confronted with adaptive countermeasures. The supposed safety guarantees did not hold up under real pressure, demonstrating that the safeguards were more of a sales pitch than a battlefield reality. For Russian leadership, this was a devastating revelation, as safety assurances were critical to projecting confidence both to their own soldiers and the international community. The unique selling points of these weapons were central to Putin's narrative. Russia claimed to have hypersonic missiles capable of speeds too fast for any existing defense systems, tanks with unmatched armor, and air defense systems like the S-400 that could shield vast territories from attack. These selling points were marketed as proof of Russia's technological leap forward, a way to intimidate adversaries and attract potential buyers in the global arms market. But when Ukraine demonstrated that these systems could be destroyed, those selling points lost their shine. If a supposedly unstoppable missile can be intercepted or neutralized, then its uniqueness disappears. If an invulnerable tank can be taken out by a cheap drone, then its reputation collapses. The exposure of these weaknesses not only shattered Russia's narrative of supremacy, but also dealt a blow to its global arms trade, where such systems were once considered prime exports. The very points that were meant to distinguish Russian weapons now serve as reminders of their overestimation. Price is always a factor in evaluating military equipment, and Russia invested billions into these projects. Hypersonic missiles, advanced tanks, and air defense systems are not cheap endeavors. They require years of research, sophisticated engineering, and vast amounts of resources. For Russia, the price tag was justified by the promise of unmatched strength. However, Ukraine's ability to destroy these weapons undermined the entire investment. Billions of rubles that could have been allocated to other areas of the military or even the economy have now literally gone up in smoke. This raises not only questions of financial sustainability, but also the broader cost-benefit analysis of pursuing such advanced systems. Was it worth draining national resources to develop weapons that ultimately failed when tested? For many observers, the answer is becoming increasingly clear. Russia's financial gamble on invincible weapons has turned into a liability, both economically and politically. The destruction of these systems has consequences far beyond the battlefield. Symbolically, it represents the collapse of a myth that Russia worked tirelessly to build. For years, Putin's speeches framed these weapons as game-changing technology that would secure Russia's dominance for decades to come. The shock on his part stems not just from the physical loss, but from the shattering of a carefully constructed narrative. If the so-called invincible weapons are vulnerable, then what does that say about Russia's broader military power? It sends a signal to allies and adversaries alike that Moscow's grip is not as firm as once believed. The psychological impact on Russian forces, who were told they had unbeatable technology on their side, is profound. Morale suffers when promises of invincibility are proven false. On the other hand, Ukrainian forces and their allies gain confidence from the knowledge that persistence, strategy, and innovation can overcome even the most intimidating of challenges. The story also underscores a larger truth about modern warfare. Technology alone is not enough to guarantee dominance. Adaptability, intelligence, and strategy play equal, if not greater, roles in determining outcomes. Ukraine's success in destroying these weapons illustrates how creativity and resourcefulness can turn the tide against supposedly superior opponents. It highlights the importance of alliances, intelligence sharing, and the use of cost-effective tools like drones and precision-guided munitions. These developments reshape how military analysts view the future of conflict, showing that even nations with massive arsenals are vulnerable to innovative tactics. The fall of Russia's invincible weapons may very well serve as a case study for future wars, teaching that no matter how advanced the technology, it can never be truly unstoppable. For the Russian leadership, this moment is a sobering reminder of the dangers of overconfidence. By branding their weapons as unbeatable, they raised expectations to impossible heights. When those expectations collapsed, the damage was not only material, but reputational. The destruction of such expensive and supposedly advanced equipment will haunt Russia's credibility for years. International buyers, who once looked to Moscow for cutting-edge military technology, are now reconsidering their options. Competitors in the global arms market, from the United States to emerging defense industries, stand to benefit from Russia's exposed weaknesses. The shockwaves extend to geopolitics, where the balance of power is shifting subtly as Russia's aura of invincibility fades. On Ukraine's side, the victory is not just tactical, but symbolic. It demonstrates resilience in the face of overwhelming odds and validates the support provided by Western partners. Every destroyed invincible weapon becomes a symbol of defiance, proof that determination and ingenuity can outmatch even the most intimidating adversary. For the Ukrainian people, these victories fuel hope and strengthen resolve. For the broader international audience, they signal that Russia's war machine is not as fearsome as it once seemed. Ultimately, the story of Russia's so-called invincible weapons is a cautionary tale. It reminds us that appearances can be deceiving, that exteriors built to inspire fear often mask interiors filled with flaws. It shows that performance in theory means little compared to performance in practice. It reveals that safety features touted as unbreakable can crumble under real-world pressure. It exposes how unique selling points collapse when the truth emerges. It highlights the staggering price of overconfidence. And in conclusion, it proves that in the ever-evolving landscape of warfare, no stem is beyond defeat. Putin's shock is the world's lesson. Invincibility is an illusion, and the true strength of a nation lies not in myths, but in resilience, adaptability, and the will to fight.